Plans to reduce suicide rates in Nottingham have been unveiled by the City Council, and they aim to tackle the risks of suicide as well as looking more closely at mental health. Practically, the plans detail blocking off tall buildings, putting up safety nets and installing emergency phones to mental health hotlines. Planning officers will also be asked to consider the risk of suicide when designing tall structures. Councillor Alex Norris, the chairman of the Health and Wellbeing Board at the City Council, thinks the new precautions will help save lives.
We think we can make it harder, or at least make people think twice, or most importantly, give them one last option of someone to speak to. So we think that'll have a good impact. What I hope is that our broader mental health plans have a bigger impact, because actually it's about reaching people when they're at primary school to understand their feelings, at secondary school, the changes in their body, so that when they, if they get off their equilibrium, they can get themselves right themselves more easily. So I think when we add everything up, hopefully, it will give people hope and a sense that there is another option.
Whilst tackling a practical aspect, the plans will also ask GPs to help identify people with untreated depression, as well as working with schools to identify children who might be at risk. Liz Pearce, the Public Health Manager at Nottingham City Council, thinks that the plans are an important step in preventing suicide.
This is our latest suicide prevention strategy for Nottingham City and Nottinghamshire, and it follows on from work that we've been doing over the past number of years. So it's not new work, but it's trying to make sure that we're all keeping on track and that we are working together to do everything possible really to prevent suicide, but also to support people following a suicide.
There are dedicated charities around to help people suffering with depression and other mental illnesses that can lead to suicide. Christine Keane, the Nottingham Samaritans branch director, thinks that Samaritans and other organisations need to keep up to date with how they tackle the issue.
When we started in 1992, suicide in prison was a high risk, but suicide continues to be a high risk thing, and we need to always be reassessing and adjusting what we can do and how we can support that. Recent things that we've done in Samaritans actually introduced the text service so that people will actually text rather than phone or rather than email.
It's clear that organisations are embracing new ways of dealing with suicide and mental illness, but the effectiveness of the council's plans remains to be seen. Matt Curtis, CBJ News.